The fact I think our guys have bought into it, bought into Coach Stoops' philosophy. We got guys that run the ball and tackled well and play hard. I mean, that's the biggest key is our guys, they played hard. I mean, we still make plenty of mistakes, believe me, but I think our guys play pretty hard.
Were they picking on Golden in particular, or was it a scheme thing?
You know, hey, let's give those guys their due. That quarterback Stanzi he's unbelievably good. That guy, he can play. He's light on his feet. He's quick with his release. He's smart. He can run. He can avoid trouble, and he's accurate. He's good. The receivers are good. They're good players. I don't know if they're necessarily saying we're going after one guy or not. It happened to be that Robert had some passes thrown at him, but Trevin did too. But they're a great team offensively, and fortunate that we came out with a win.
When you look at Kevin Riley, then in comparison to Stanzi, are there similarities between those two?
He's a good player. He's an excellent player. He's done a great job for Cal for a number of years. Just getting into the meat and bones of that part with him. They do a good job on offense now. I do know that a couple of their receivers stand out right away when you look at them. 1 and 21, they got some good players. The other thing too about Cal is they're so well coached with Tedford. Offensively, they've got great ideas what they're trying to get accomplished. You can just see it. You sit there and you watch it unfold on film and say, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. They're trying to get you in so-and-so, and then they're going to motion out and then see what they can get you into. They're trying to get you into a predictable pattern, and they do a great job at it.
Greg, when the TV cameras a lot of times show Mike yelling at the coaches on the sideline, was that something you were aware of, that he was that intense? Was that something you got to prepare for as a coach? Did he have your head coach in your face on a game?
No, I mean, hey, Mike is, when you say competitor, I mean, you could look at the dictionary, you're going to see his picture. I mean, the guy competes, snap in and snap out, and with any coach, it's not personal. If somebody's in somebody's face, it's not personal. It's the heat of moment. Hey, let's get this corrected. Let's get going. And it's awesome. I mean, my hat is so off to Mike Stoops watching what he's done with this program. It's unbelievable. It's a great opportunity, I know, for myself to come here to U of A and to be around him and see what it takes and what he's done and how he's built this up from what it had been 7 years ago when he came here. It's a tremendous feat the guy's had, and it's just a great learning experience for me to see how he's done it, because I'm firsthand getting a great lesson in how he's done it.
Personality-wise, most people think he probably couldn't be any more different from Coach Hawkins. How were they different on game day?
Oh, hey, every coach is going to have his style, and I'm not going to go into a bunch of specifics, but I'll just say one thing. I'm extremely glad and fortunate to be a Wildcat, and all I'm looking at right now, I'm really not even paying much attention to Colorado, and I'm looking at Cal, and that's about it right now.
Mike Turner seemed to get a fair amount of playing time. Was I seeing that right? I seem to see him on the field a lot.
Yeah, Mike's come in whenever we go with 6 defensive backs, our dime package. Mike comes in, plays left corner, does an outstanding job because he's blessed with great physical skills. I mean, he can run, he can tackle. The guy is got to be one of the fastest guys on the team. I mean, he can really run. So hopefully we'll just keep getting Mike better and better. But yes, he's an integral part of our dime package.
It didn't seem like he was necessarily a guy you were really counting on.
In the spring, we kind of thought we had something there because you just see his physical ability on the field. Now, he hadn't done a bunch up to this point. He's, of course, going to his senior year right now. But one of the indications that we had through spring that we could get some good mileage out of Mike was that interception return he had for a touchdown in the spring game. I mean, that play he made, he picked that off, a little bit of an overthrow. We were in too deep, if I remember right. And when he took off and set sail down that sideline, there was nobody going to catch that. It doesn't matter who you are. I mean, you're not going to outrun Mike Turner. He can roll.
Is there any advantage when you're breaking down tape of Cal that they playing some guys you coached in that Colorado team? Does it make because that personnel, or is it no different than any other guy?
No question, it is. It's an advantage. Watch some of the matchups to see what they did. Very familiar with Colorado's corners, and actually talked to them after their game, after they got done playing. Talked to all 5 of their defensive backs. They play a lot of nickel, and got their takes on their guys, and that's the prudent thing to do. Any coach, I'm sure, would do the same thing in that situation. And if you know somebody, call them up, say, hey, what did you think? What would you do different? Who's their guy? What are they gonna do with the ball? And so, yeah, that was help, especially talking to the two corners.
Craig, when you bring a safety blitz, how does that open up the rush lanes to the linemen, your defensive linemen's benefit?
Oh, you talking about the end of the game against
Yeah.
Iowa? You know, the thing about it is sometimes you get in a different front that maybe they haven't seen, and of course that's one thing right then and there that the center's got to all of a sudden make his adjustments, make his calls. But then when you get the safety down, and many times it was Joe Perkins the other night, we get him down in there close. Even if Joe is not getting in on the action, getting a sack or anything like that, he's freeing up another guy. Now, if you hit it just right, if everything works out to the defense's advantage, then you're going to have a freebie where somebody's left unblocked, which that happened a time or two the other night. Now, the rest of the time that we had the sacks, they weren't freebies, but you created enough one-on-one blockings across the board that all it takes is somebody then to whip their individual opponent, which, you know, we're blessed with the great defensive ends here, and they're able to do that. So that's part of the deal with bringing the extra guys down there is, hey, let's just take some guys off the double team so they can't double team our defensive ends.
Anything else for Coach Brown?
So much was talked about the defensive ends this year that nobody, I guess, was expecting the constant, consistent play of your tackles. Was that something you thought you guys had going into the season, was the ability to get some sacks from the tackle position?
You know, that's just an unknown. It was an unknown going in, and it's still a work in progress. I'm sure that'd be the first thing that Coach Tui would say, and Coach Hammersmith, who handles our defensive ends, they do a tremendous job teaching those guys. I mean, they are teachers from day one. They're on those guys constantly about technique, about refreshing what they're going to do on each scheme. They do a great job with it. I think that it all boils back to what Coach Stoops is, and his philosophy is, hey, we better get something out of those two tackles up front, the 1 and 3 technique, because if we don't, people are going to be able to gang up on the defensive ends. But if those two tackles inside do their jobs, hey, defensive end, that's going to open up to more one-on-one type blocking.
All right, Coach.